Yes, my name is Alyssa. I'm very excited to be here today because I'm talking about my favorite thing in the world, which is theater. So, yeah, hello everyone. Oh, drama, yes, theater. Yes, Ivy Jung. Oh my gosh, one of my best friend's names is Ivy Jung. So, Ivy Jung, you got the same name as my best friend. That's very interesting. Wow. I know, very funny. So, yeah, let me talk a little bit about myself. I love drama too. I'm so excited. Um, so I studied theater in my undergraduate degree at the University of Iowa. I think Kay already was talking about it. And then right now I am studying my master's degree at Shanghai Theater Academy, where I'm learning about intercultural communication studies. And um, in the process, I was learning a lot about Chinese theater and international theater. So it was very fun for me. Wi-Fi is bad. Can you guys hear me okay? Everyone okay? Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Okay. So I won't keep us waiting, but without further ado, we are definitely going to talk about drama through the ages and how this all came to be. So let me open my screen to you. So many fireworks. Really? What are they celebrating? Woohoo! Fireworks. I love fireworks, guys. Okay. So yes, as we said earlier, we're going to look at drama through the ages. So we're going to start in kind of like the beginning of time almost, and then we're going to go all the way to the end. So this book is a little bit long, so we will jump around a little bit when we're talking about different types of drama through the ages. And we will also watch a little bit of a few videos because I think they're good examples of, certain types of drama that I think are important to learn about. So yeah, something I like to do, if you guys have questions, please ask them in the chat and I will answer them as we go along. Or if you have comments, I will look as we go along too. Oh yeah, and Wally, if anyone celebrates that, or if anyone has a friend who celebrates that, yeah, that is happening. I forgot. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. I gotta make this, yes. Okay, hopefully y'all can see. Let's learn a little bit about drama through the ages. So we have our picture in the background here of some ancient Greek theater. So let's do it. Drama through the ages. People have always celebrated important events, such as a good harvest or a particular anniversary. Thousands of years ago, these occasions often included dance and drama, and the idea of theater was born. In this book, you'll discover how people's ideas of theatrical performance have changed throughout the ages. Some shows have remained the same for hundreds of years, while other kinds of spectacle have developed new ideas and styles. All right, and we're gonna continue forward. So, you know what? I want to make this a little bigger. I think it's a little small. Let me get a little closer to it, I think. There we go. All right, dramatic beginnings. Where do we come from? What makes the sun shine? What is life all about? People have been asking these questions for thousands of years. But long ago, there were no scientists or religious leaders to offer any answers. So people overcame their fear of nature and the unknown by creating, gods and spirits, or creating their own different religions. So in the olden days, people used to perform dances and rituals. So dances and rituals to ask these spiritual characters or gods to bring them good luck. They danced before they went hunting and blessed the land before planting seeds. Even today, some people still perform for nature in this way. This is very true. Rituals like these probably formed the beginnings of modern theater. But there was one major difference. Everyone was involved, so no one was watching. Everyone did the rituals. No one was watching them. True theater only developed when people began to act out stories for groups of spectators, so for groups of people watching. They pretended to be other people or imitated the actions of gods or animals to entertain the audience. Okay, so the big word we want to know here is rituals. That is what theater was at first. Ooh, a lot of in the chat. I'm going to check the chat too. Is the drama in the pic from Thailand? You mean this picture? Is this what you mean, Cheryl? Looks like the goat mask from Minecraft. Indian peoples. The cover photo. Let me go take a look at that. Whoop. You know what? I think that is from Thai theater. I think you're right, Cheryl. Nice job. Definitely. Yeah. Looks like it might be from Thailand. All right. I'm going to go back to our big word ritual. So ritual is like a little bit like a dance, but also like a routine, something you do often, something that you repeat. And it was because of these rituals that people were like, well, hey, we're performing for nature, we're performing for the gods, we could perform for each other. So even nowadays today, if you take a theater class, maybe in college, your professor will say, theater is like a ritual, because it is. Everyone goes, they attend, they watch, and then the people on the stage begin to act. So it's not as different from maybe something like this as it, could be. Okay, let's talk about dance and drama super quickly. What's the difference between dancing and acting out a drama? I don't know, you guys tell me, what's the difference? In many countries, these two kinds of entertainment are so closely linked, it's difficult to tell them apart. So in the picture above, you see an African tribe in Mali performing a ritual dance. The performers wear masks representing the spirits, and the dance tells an important story of their ancient history. So that's the picture we're looking at right here. So dance, ritual, theater, all kind of interlinked into one, all kind of the same there. Okay, so let's talk about the first performances. Drama is more like a story. Yes, Ivy, definitely. Dancing is moving and acting is pretending. Very good, Yolanda, yes. But you do move when you act. You have to move your body sometimes. So maybe dancing is like, I don't know, more to music. And a drama sometimes has music and sometimes doesn't. But yes, you both are correct. The first performances. No one knows who the first actors were. I'm going to move this. A long time ago, people told stories and acted them out. We know from paintings that have been found in caves that prehistoric people, so people from a long, long, long time ago, sometimes dressed up as animals and acted out hunting scenes to bring good luck to the actual hunt. So these same people, but thousands of years later, we call them Aboriginal people in Australia, still perform these dance dramas like this today. They paint their bodies and decorate themselves with feathers and plants. Sometimes the actors pretend to be animals as a way of honoring the animal spirit, or they might perform a short comic drama about an everyday event. Knowledge of the dances is passed down by word of mouth from the older members of the tribe to the children. Let's look at this word real quick. Word of mouth. So rituals and word of mouth are the two most important phrases to know about the first kind of drama. Word of mouth is basically just telling someone about, drama. So we tell people things all the time. We pass things on by word of mouth. And that's what happened with theater. That's what happened with all these stories that they would tell and how to perform them. It was all passed down by word of mouth. Yeah, because no one was writing this down. They were just talking about it to each other. And I think that's the really cool part about theater. It was started, just by talking about it and not by actually writing down any plays. Okay, we already talked a little bit about ritual drama. So we're gonna skip this section, but it has to do with the ancient Egyptians performed a lot of ritual drama. And I think obviously this will interest you all, and maybe you already know it, which would be great. Let's talk about early drama in China. So historians tell us that drama was popular in ancient China too. The first performances grew out of ceremonies to worship the Chinese gods. So this was a long, 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 long time ago. And they included music, dancing, juggling, so like with the balls, other aerobatic acts like cartwheels maybe, or jumps, or somersaults, and sometimes with the short plays acted in between. Later, the plays themselves became more important than the dancing and the acrobatics. These were performed by trained actors who wore special makeup and costumes which identified the characters they were playing. So this is the ancient drama in China. And as you know, this ancient drama in China was, turned into like Peking opera, Kunshu opera, Sichuan opera, all the other kinds of operas, what came from this kind of one type in the very, very, very ancient China. So I don't know. It's kind of cool. We have these kind of dramas which are performed still today. And then we have dramas that were formed because of old ways. It's very cool. Okay. I have a Q&A. Says Dylan. All right, I like it. Great, awesome job. Okay, let's move on to ancient Greek theaters. We have to talk about ancient Greek theaters. Instead of reading about that, I'll show you guys these pictures. So has anyone ever been to Greece or to Italy or Turkey? Any of those places, or maybe even Morocco? No. No. I've never been either. I really want to go. So if you ever have the chance to go, you need to visit an ancient Greek theater. A lot of them obviously are very old, but they still, look very, I think this looks pretty like good for how old it is. It's holding up very well. But you can see in this tiny picture right here, this is what it probably looked like when ancient Greece was not ancient, when it was still, had people living there and stuff. So, I mean, the backdrop was just enormous. And so you could put in different scenery, you could enter and exit from different angles. And the playing area was right here in the middle. So that's where the actors would come out from the back into the playing area and perform, and then they could exit out the back again. So I don't know. And it was made of stone. I find it very, very cool. Have you went to the Colosseum? Asked William. I have not been to the Colosseum. Have you been to the Colosseum, William? I really want to go to the Colosseum because the Colosseum is also very important for the history of theater. Yes, it's definitely one of the most famous ones. So, and let me see if the next page talks about Rome. It does great. So, the other important thing, there's a lot of words on the page, but we don't need to read it all. I'll tell you more about it, I think. So, these theaters in Greece could fit about maybe 25,000 people, which was like the entire city could fit. So whenever there was a performance, the entire city would come to watch. It was free. They could come watch for free. And yeah, they got to watch free theater, which is great. The actors on the stage often wore these kinds of masks. Just to show their different characters. So obviously you have holes for the eyes so people can see, and a hole for the mouth. And even though it was a mask, the actors had to be really, really, really loud so that they could, 25,000 people could hear them. So they would be yelling through this mask and their voice would project to be very loud so that hopefully the person in the very back row could hear them. And that is something we still learn how to do today. Yes, Oscar, how do they talk though? They scream. That's right, Cheryl. They literally, we call it, and I'll type it in here. Today we call it projection, like you project your voice. And it's something that if you go to university for theater, or maybe you take a theater class at your school right now, you'll learn how to project your voice so that people can hear you. And that's ancient Greek theaters. And now I want to take you to ancient Rome because we were just talking about so go very loud. I want to talk about the ancient Romans because they are so interesting, because the Romans took a lot from the Greeks, but like they took the masks and stuff. Those are a little similar, but they had, like we were saying, the Colosseum. And that's what I want to talk about, is the Colosseum and other amphitheaters like that. Freaking out. Highly projected their raging voice. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Whoops. All right. Let's talk about drama to spectacle, and we'll learn what spectacle is. The Roman audiences used the theaters to stage more popular kinds of entertainment, such as the pantomimus, a one-man show, usually comedy, which was supported by musicians and a chorus of actors to chant the story. The main male actor mimed the performance, communicating mainly by hand gestures and changing his mask each time he played a different character. But in time, the Romans didn't want drama anymore. They wanted spectacle. They enjoyed chariot racing, daring acrobats, and even flooded the amphitheaters and staged mock sea battles known as naumachia. Okay, so spectacle. Spectacle is like all of the crazy stuff. Like they give a couple examples here: chariot racing, flooding the amphitheater with water and having a sea battle. They would do this. They would flood that theater with water, put ships in it, and these men would fight each other on the ships. It was probably very crazy. I can't even imagine how crazy that would be to witness that and to watch that. Wow, I mean, it'd be very cool. But there is something we should know more about when it comes to the Romans, and some of you may know this, but I'm going to throw this word up here. Gladiators. All right, who knows what a gladiator is? I'm not kidding, guys. They flooded it. They are creating, they be creating national disasters is right. They're playing Jumanji. Very good, Daniel. Nice job. A gladiator is a fighter. Max, you're right. They fight for the king. Maxine, you're right. A person who fights. Very good. Yes, gladiator is all of those things. I'll put it in the chat. Yes, so gladiators fought for the emperor of Rome. However, gladiators were not free people. They were slaves. They were forced to fight and kill each other. So when we see things like this sea battle, I mean, it seems very cool, right? A sea battle, very interesting. But if you think about it, all of these men on these ships are probably gladiators. So they are killing each other for the entertainment of the Romans. So I don't think it was very pleasant for them, obviously. Very sad. We hate it. We have a question. Royce says, why do they want to flood their house? Very great question. And why does it all have to do with dying? Do they like to die? Two very good questions. They flooded it for entertainment, for the spectacle of it. The spectacle, you know, all the crazy stuff. They killed each other because the king or the emperor told them they had to, because it was for the spectacle of it, so that the people of Rome could be entertained. The people of Rome were very violent. They liked watching, they liked watching these giant sea battles. They liked watching gladiators fight each other and watching gladiators fight animals. So it was all, as I said, just for the whole spectacle of it. So that was just crazy. Really glad we don't do that today. And Cheryl keeps saying Jumanji. Yeah, Jumanji's pretty crazy too. So it is really just watching people kill each other. Yep, that's all it is. Ancient Rome. Not a very happy place to live, I think, if you are a gladiator. Okay, let me zoom out here. So during Greek and Roman theater, we talked about the masks that they have. I'm sure you all have seen these masks before. We have the mask of comedy and the mask of tragedy. So both of these were meant to show the different emotions that a character could have. I know, so creepy, but pretty cool, right? I find it pretty cool, to be honest. I love it. Okay, we're going to talk about Indian classics now. And if I can get my video to work, I do have an example to show you. Okay, Indian classics. The ancient Greeks held competitions to reward the best playwrights. The Indians did as well, but they praised the actors instead. Many of these actors were members of the royal courts in India, and the rulers, called the Rajas, did much of the judging themselves. Sanskrit was the language of India up to some 1,000 years ago. People don't speak it anymore, but much of the drama and poetry performed in the Indian theater was written in Sanskrit. Religious plays in Sanskrit use dance and music to recount the romantic adventures of Hindu gods and princes. So Hinduism is the religion of some people in India. And like someone said, it's Diwali, which is an Indian holiday. So happy Diwali, woohoo, we're learning about Indian theater. In India, there were 10 kinds of drama, 3 different shapes of stage, and many rules about how the plot could be constructed or be made. There were also rules to follow on acting style, facial expression, body movement, and language. Each gesture and movement had a particular meaning. So if we look at this picture here, this is an example of a love story play called Shakuntala. Has anyone heard of Shakuntala before? Oh, we have some questions about gladiators. I'm so sorry I missed these. Okay. Ivy asked, but do they have to change masks during the shows? Sometimes, because you have an actor playing more than one character, so they would change for masks. How? They would take one off and then just put the other on. So sometimes the masks were held up by, sometimes they were held up by like a stick and you could like put it up to your face. Sometimes you could put it on and around the back with a strap. And sometimes they just held the mask up to their face and then they could take it off and put the other one on. Ancient Greeks and ancient Romans, but ancient Indian theater was not like that. So let me try to pull up my example of ancient Indian theater. Let me try to do that. Okay. Okay, I want to share. There we go. Okay, oh, I didn't share my sound. All right, we're gonna watch a little example of this one. Oh no, we have an ad. We're skipping the ad. Okay, guys. We're only watching a little bit of it. I hope you can hear it. Skip ahead. Notice her hand movement. She has very specific hand movement. Oh no, it's a little
देखो कैसे अपनी सुंदर गर्दन बार-बार पीछे मोड़कर हमें देखता है और फिर सर पर भाग पड़ता है.
Yeah, tell me guys what you think. It's lagging. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's loud.
बाण लगने के डर से इसकी पिछली देह मानो अग्रभाग में सिमट ही गई.
It was too loud. I'm so sorry, guys. All right, it's lagging. Okay. We'll stop it for now since it's lagging. But I hope you saw a little bit of it. The hand movement is very important. Like, you have to move your hands exactly, you know, otherwise it means something different. And this is true of the legs and the feet and the body. So that's something really special about, I think, Indian theater, but also a lot of very traditional types of theater throughout Asia. Something that the ancient Greeks did not do was this kind of very, very exact movement. So yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. It was too loud. Really? Look, I don't know if you can see it. I got like my volume on 14 out of 100. Oh no. Okay, cool. Let's talk a little bit about minstrels, and then we'll move on. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Let me move this forward. There we go. Traveling entertainers. Look at this statue of an entertainer. Performers like this traveled around Europe between the 1200s and the 1400s. They carried all their equipment with them and were ready to perform any one of a number of acts to suit different audiences. One day, they might play to an audience of local people who had come to the market. The next, they might perform at a banquet for the family and friends of a rich landowner. We often call them minstrels. Traveling entertainers were called minstrels. They dressed in colorful costumes so that people would notice them when they came to town, either on their own or in groups of 2 or 3. A good minstrel learned all sorts of talents. He could sing, dance, recite poetry, play some instruments, act, and tell stories. Some could do acrobatics or juggle, like in the picture. Minstrels were nearly as men, since in that time, acting was not considered to be a suitable job for a woman. So, was it 1200s and 1400s Europe? So, very, very long time ago, and women were not really allowed to do that. Creepy. Yeah, you guys are funny. I am enjoying your guys' chat. This is quite funny. Yes, so we got some creepy guys juggling. That's how they did it. Let's talk a little bit about traveling minstrels in Korea. So in Korea, traveling minstrels were known as kwangdaes. They needed strong, powerful voices. So part of their training was to go to a remote hillside and shout at the top of their voices. A kwangdae's performance was called a pansori and is still popular today. All that's needed is a kwangdae, a drummer, and a mat. So the performance can take place anywhere, often in the open air. So this is a modern day take on these kwangdae performances. Yep, it is Korea. It is indeed Korea. They're telling us Korea. Yup, yup. That's right. Who said, yeah, there was unfair treatment to women in those days in Europe. Yep. Okay. And here's a great example of a traveling entertainer from Africa. So it wasn't just that traveling entertainers happened in Europe. It happened all over the world at all times in history, which I think is really interesting. In fact, I think traveling entertainers before COVID-19 still existed today in some way. So in this picture we have, let's see, in Senegal and Mali in West Africa, they were called griots. Griots still perform today. They sing, tell stories, and dance to the kora, a kind of harp. Other minstrels use tambourines or drums to accompany their tales. You can see an African entertainer at work in the picture here, playing a traditional stringed instrument called a ngoni. Pretty cool. So it's still happening, yes, today. I love talking about no theater, guys. No more. Oh my God, you guys are funny. You're cracking me up. All right, we get all our questions answered. Anyone else have any questions? All right, great. Let's keep doing it. I'm going to zoom out a bit. I want to show you this full picture. This is traditional Japanese theater. So Japanese has, I think, about 2 main traditional types of theater. One is the no theater, and the other is the kabuki theater. And I don't know if we will talk about kabuki. Yeah, we're not. Wow, this book does not talk about kabuki theater. Okay, we will talk about the No theater though. Okay, so the No theater uses masks, very traditional masks with different faces. It might be a little scary to some. I have played it. Oh, a Japanese horror game with the mask. Oh no! I'm so sorry, Cheryl. Yeah, I'm sure the horror game took their inspiration from the No theater. They were like, yeah, we're just gonna take that mask and put it in the video game. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Well, I'll try not to show too much of it, but unfortunately it's here. Okay. So the No theater, I know, I'm sorry, I went close to it, is usually from the 1300s. No drama, kind of like Indian drama, is very stylized, which means the movement is very important, and the costumes are also important, and the story comes from myths and legends and history. Usually with the No theater, it is about something tragic, so something very sad that has happened. Usually like maybe warriors or samurai dying, maybe two people love each other, but one of them dies. And so it's these very sad stories, and they take a very long time. So a man named Ziami Motokiyo was the one who wrote down all the rules for performing No, and those rules are still used today for people who perform in the No theater. So if we look at this little picture here, oh, you guys are blowing it up. Are you guys too scared? Oh gosh. Oh no, you're so scared. I know maybe it's a little scary, but just remember it's a very traditional type of theater, and it's supposed to be very, very sad when you watch it. So we have this here. This is the passageway to the stage. And what happens here, maybe I can draw it, is that the actors enter from here. And so the audience is only on two sides. The actors walk very, 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 very slowly to enter. And then they come out here. And maybe the people who play the instruments, the orchestra is here. And the actors are on the stage here. The reason they walk so slowly is that this is considered the afterlife over here. And so when they leave the afterlife, they come to our world. So our world is here on this side of the stage. So the actors are pretending they're coming back to our world, even though they are ghosts. Yes. You guys are funny. So yes, I hope that answers your question, Yolanda. That's why they walk so slowly. It's like they're ghosts coming from the afterlife and entering our world, which is pretty cool if you ask me. I think No theater is really interesting. So what I want to do, I don't want to talk about this one quite yet. I want to show you an example of No theater, because I think that will be important. So let me pull that up. Okay. All right, let me share my screen. No more creepy masks. I'm so sorry. We're going to watch a little bit of creepy mask stuff. Okay. Maybe it won't be so bad. Just to give you guys an example, hopefully not too loud. They move very, very slowly usually. You're in the game. No, guys, you're in the theater watching No performance. So the movement is to these instruments, obviously. Oh boy. So now the mask has changed. All right, I think we'll stop there because I'm afraid you guys are getting a little frightened. But these masks and characters are supposed to be sad and maybe a little scary because it's ghost stuff. Oh, guys, it's okay. It's okay. It'll be fine. Don't worry. It'll be fine. We won't read about this because we're running out of time, but the Japanese also have a very funny type of theater. It's called the Kyogen, which makes it a little more funny. It's like comedy and very lighthearted. And sometimes they don't even wear a mask. They just act out something very funny. So this is where you ask me, Alyssa, like, why did we not watch something funny? Well, I don't know. Okay, for this, I think we're gonna skip this one because I want to hear from you guys too about what you know about Chinese opera and Chinese theater. I only, have been just learning it now, so I'm very excited to learn about it. Men want Chinese opera. Yo, yep, we're here. That's right, Cheryl. I don't know anything. Lily says the people have to wear a mask. There's Corona. Yes, in China, lots of masks in the theater. This better not be scary. It's not scary, Max, it's not. Cheryl says my grandpa's a huge friend. Awesome, yay. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, so I love Chinese opera, and Chinese opera is very, very old, which I think, no theater is very old. Indian theater is very old, but Chinese opera is very interesting to me. So yeah, so I guess we'll just talk a little bit about it. So in the spring and the summertime, if we look over here, there we go. Throughout the spring and summer, the farm crops have been tended and harvested. And certainly there was no time to watch plays because you were working to make sure the crops were okay. But when the farming season was over, the farm hands still needed to work and make a living. And so these farmers became groups of actors and would bring their shows to villages in the fall and the winter, which I think is pretty cool. So these are what the ancient stages look like, if you didn't know that before. Yes. In Qingchao, I guess. Yes. Yeah, you guys are cracking me up with this chat. Very funny. Yes, it does look like he's standing on the fence maybe, but this was the playing area and people would gather. I think it's very cool. So the important thing to remember about very, very, very early Chinese opera is that the stage was temporary. So it was not always there because these were traveling actors. So they worked on outdoor open air stages made of wood and bamboo and all that fun stuff. And you could put the stage up anywhere. You could set it up wherever you want. These are some modern day stages. I believe this is in Hong Kong when they were having a festival. Yup. So, yeah. I mean, the stage itself has not really changed. I mean, we still have a very square stage, a table, and 2 chairs for Chinese opera. That's the most important part about it. Oh gosh, we're changing it already. Okay. Well, I want to. They sing yes, they sing their lines instead of saying it. Cheryl gave us an example. Okay, so last fall, I was in Shanghai for my master's, and obviously because of coronavirus, I'm not there anymore. But it was really cool because last fall I got to take a class in Chinese opera. I guess maybe you can see my robes, that's from my class. And I got to learn some of the hand movements and like one of the dances. And I didn't really learn to sing, but it was still kind of cool. But I do want to show you guys another. No, not the kabuki. Not the kabuki. If you guys know Mei Lan Fang, I'm sure you do. He's like the most famous Chinese opera star probably ever. But I thought we could watch a little bit of his most famous performance because he is just so good at what he does. I don't know. You don't know him. Whoa. Okay. Mei Lan Fang. Maybe I can type his name in Chinese as well. Is it this? Let me double check my dictionary because I think Mei Lan Fang. Yep, that's how you spell it. Great. So you can ask so Cheryl, you can ask your grandpa if you want. Yolanda knows this. Thank you, Michael. You got it before me. Yes, he's from China. So let's watch a little bit of his. So sorry, guys. My volume is low. I don't know what you're talking about. Turn your volumes down, guys. No, guys, this is the best stuff. Trust me.
娘娘，赔礼是敬酒，
敬的是乐酒，
太平酒，
何为太平酒？
黎民百姓所造，名曰太平酒。
好臣上来。
啊！
We want to hear him sing. Here we go. Maybe. Why is it like ye, holy? All right. It's like that because that is just the very style of singing in Chinese opera. So, I mean, that high-pitched, voice and the kind of waver of the voice, it's just like a very stylized part of it. It's like, ancient Greek had a style, Indian theater had a style, Japanese theater had a style, the minstrels in Europe had their own style, so everything just kind of goes different. Yes, Yolanda, it is Hong Kong. Thank you. From Old Beijing, very good. Very, very nice. All right. Okay. I'll stop it. I'll save your ears the trouble. My gosh, guys, my volume is so low. I really don't know what you're talking about. Okay, no problem. All right, we have 10 minutes. So, oh gosh, we're going to skip this one. Let's see. So we were talking about minstrels. So very quickly, minstrels became in Italy, the comedians. Commedia dell'arte is a very famous form. I just don't know if we have enough time to talk about, you know what, we do. This is Commedia dell'arte from Italy in the 1500s. And they all have these very different costumes. So I do want to get a little closer to that. So, Commedia dell'arte, meaning comedy, always consisted of a series of set situations. So you always had the same plot and the same stories. It was a list of these called the scenario, was pinned up in the actor's dressing area, so they knew exactly what scene and what was going to happen. So the characters or the roles in this style of theater were also set and recognized by the masks and the costumes they wore. Having a recognizable costume, so having a costume that you know, made life easier for the actors. It meant that there was no need for them to spend time establishing their character in front of the new audience. They never needed to introduce their character because the audience knew who their characters were. It was the same costumes and the same masks. So usually there were two zanni or clowns who were usually servants. So one of these clowns called Harlequin and the other clown called Brigella. Then you had the servant girl, Colombina. You had a soldier who was very cowardly called Capitano. And you had some very old guys. This guy was a rich man. He wasn't very nice, called Pantalone. And then you usually had a doctor character. So these are usually the characters you would find in Commedia dell'arte. Everything for it is very, very simple. You guys are cracking me up. Okay, so let me go back to Ivy. Ivy asked about Chinese opera. Are they performing some events in the Chinese history? Yes, they are. Oftentimes in Chinese opera, they're just performing stories from history that they already know. Things that happened and sometimes things that didn't happen, but it's such a famous ancient story. Yes. All right, you guys are very funny. Yes, I hope that helped Ivy. Okay, we might have to end on this because we're running out of time. Okay, of course, we cannot talk about the history of drama and theater without talking about William Shakespeare. Has anyone read a William Shakespeare play before? And if so, which one did you read? I know him, The Tempest, says Ella. Yeah. Yep, Maxine, no more masks. Okay, Macbeth, says Ella. Oh, I should say the Scottish play, because Macbeth is cursed. Okay, so William Shakespeare is absolutely the favorite, my favorite, I think, of all time. Alina's read Romeo and Juliet, excellent. Hamlet, very good. All right, let's talk a little bit about William Shakespeare and then we'll be finished. So he's a famous playwright. All right, it's amazing that the famous English playwright, William Shakespeare, should be such a mysterious character. We know he came from Stratford-upon-Avon in England and that he married Anne Hathaway, but we don't know much else about his life. What we do know is that he has been named as the author of at least 36 plays and over 100 poems. William Shakespeare was an actor and member of a London theater company. He certainly learned how to write lines and scenes that could work on stage and how to write parts with specific actors in mind. And he knew what the audiences wanted. So his subjects from plays. So Shakespeare wrote, I'll just show you this picture, wrote comedies, wrote tragedies, and he wrote history plays. So he wrote so many plays, 36 different plays. Truly just every type of character, every type of plot and story. It's very amazing. Yes, Levi did write more. That's correct. That's very, very true. Maxine wants to be an actress. You totally should be. Has anyone been to the Globe Theater? I have. I did last year. Yeah, a year and a half ago. It was very cool. So many of Shakespeare's plays were performed in the Globe Theater. It burned down in, let's see, the original burned down in 1613. There was a big fire. It was awful. But in 1997, they built it again finally. So now you can go to London and watch all the different Shakespeare plays there, which is pretty cool. And I believe, yeah. All right, this is a good place to end on. Shakespeare's great. His plays are great. But so is the history of so many other plays. like ancient Greek theater, ancient Roman theater is crazy but interesting. Ancient, Indian theater, all of that is very interesting. So, and of course, Chinese opera, and yes, even the Japanese No theater is very interesting. So I hope you all learned a little bit, and I'm happy to take 1 or 2 questions if anyone has any. Any more questions? I'm sorry we didn't finish the book, but I'm happy we ended on Shakespeare. I felt like that was a good first introduction to all of it. Okay, sweet. If no more questions, thank you guys for being so lively. And thank you for your questions and thoughts and ideas. I had a lot of fun today, and I will see you another time, I hope. I'm going to turn it back to Kay.